Hey Reininger wine fans, and welcome back to our weekly blog. Today we're featuring our 2017 REININGER Merlot. It has our wonderful new label on it that has an abstract depiction of the mountains of Washington State, which are responsible for the incredible viticultural climate that we have here. It's such a fascinating story that someday we're actually going to do a blog just on that, how the mountains affect our climatology here and makes it such an exceptional place for growing grapes. Speaking of exceptional grapes, let's talk about Merlot. First of all, what is it? Where did it come from? Well, it's believed to have originated in southwest of France, and it's actually a cross between two grapes. One fairly well-known grape, Cabernet Franc, and a very esoteric grape that's nearly extinct called Magdalene Noir des Charentes. That's a tough one to get out. But anyway, the name of Merlot itself, the root of the word Merlot, actually means blackbird. Now, why is it called blackbird? Well, two theories on that. One is that just simply because it's a black grape, and the other is that blackbirds actually really do like Merlot. So when things start ripening up, the blackbirds are in the vineyards and creating all sorts of problems for the growers. So Merlot itself, it has early bud break. And it's also an early ripener. So the early bud break can be good or can be bad. If we have an early spring frost, this can be a bad situation. However, because it's an early ripener, it can also help with the fruit portfolio of a vineyard, if you will. So if we have cooler, rainy temperatures in the fall, well, Merlot is a nice backup because it ripens a little bit earlier, a week to 2 weeks earlier than Cabernet Sauvignon. And so it can provide the vineyard with guarantee at least that it has some wonderful wine and a cool vintage where a lot of rain in the fall. So one of the things about Merlot is that it's a very round, plush grape. It has wonderful red fruit flavors of cherry and plums, currant. Sometimes people say some strawberry. The Merlot around here, I really don't get too much strawberry in it. But one thing that I find about the Merlot here in Walla Walla Valley, it has a little thread of cocoa or chocolate in it. So I'll get into that and how we deal with that a little bit later. But those are the general aspects of it. So where do we find it? You know, the best places in the world for growing Merlot is the left bank of Bordeaux, just north of the Gironde River. And you'll find such notable wines there as Cheval Blanc or Petrus, some of the world's most sought after wines. It's kind of, speaking Cheval Blanc, if you might remember the movie Sideways, 2004, Paul Giamatti and his character Miles was the downfall of Merlot. It's kind of like the .com crash for Merlot, if you will. He says in that movie, you know, I'm not going to drink no effing Merlot. And ironically, his favorite wine in the movie, I believe, is it 64? I can't remember the vintage. Anyway, Cheval Blanc, which is a blend of Cabernet Franc and Merlot. It's about 50-50 blend. And Petrus, in the book, it's actually Petrus. And Petrus is usually about 80% Merlot, but these wines will often fetch well over $2,000 a bottle and age a very long time. Merlot is not known necessarily as a great aging wine, but it can be. So let's change our perception on Merlot because it truly is a noble, very gorgeous, dignified wine. So that's one place in the world, which when I mentioned two places, the other best place to grow Merlot in the world is right here in eastern Washington, in particular Walla Walla Valley. This particular vintage here, as far as the ageability of it, you know, gosh, our 97 and 98 Merlot are kind of really still doing all right. This particular one, though, I think, you know, you could obviously, I think, have last easy 10 years on this wine, but it's a gorgeous wine. The flavors on this, again, getting some darker cherry, and I'm getting a lot more plum than say just even a couple of months ago. The plum in it is really starting to stand out. Tiny bit of boysenberry going on there, although that's starting to evolve also more into black raspberry. And current flavors in here, again, brighter. They used to be more red. It's now evolving more towards the darker fruits. So it's really fun seeing how these wines evolve in the bottle. So a little bit of that oak spice on there. And a really nice little lingering with the dark fruit. There's a tiny bit of espresso going on in there too. The tannins on here are real fine grained, very soft, round. I'm going to use that word again, plush. This is wonderful. And the acidity on this is moderate acidity. And so overall, the wine in this is nicely balanced. It lays comfortably across the palate with a medium weight to it, and just like say the gentle softness and roundness, plushness of it is just makes it, I believe, just an exceptional, wonderful Merlot. The vintage on this, we started out with cool vintage in the spring, and then we had a very warm, hot summer, and this gave us small berry size and small cluster size. So it allowed us for wonderful extraction of the fruit when you have the smaller berries. And September ended up being a little cooler. So one of the things I was concerned about with the hot summer, when we get those hot temperatures, the sugars ripen up before the phenolics. So getting higher alcohols is always a worry. So if we get higher alcohols and those phenolics aren't allowed to catch up, well, then the wine isn't in balance as much. And so but luckily we had that a little cooler fall anyway, allowed the phenolics to catch up. So there you have it, a little bit of synopsis on Merlot and our 2017 Merlot. Awesome bottle, go for it. Next week blog, we're going to be doing our 2019 Hills Vineyards. So look forward to talking with you next week or on the replay. Take care. Adios.